My dear, I gave you galaxies in silence, and you never even looked up. I left clues in my eyes, but you were too busy staring at your phone. You keep asking what's wrong. I've screamed with every breath, just not in words. I changed my entire energy, hoping you'd notice. You didn't. I texted good night like a funeral. You replied with a heart emoji. You missed the ache behind my smile every single time. I sat beside you, louder than thunder in my silence. I wore pain like perfume. You never smelled a thing. Every "I'm okay" was a cracked window you never peeked through. I chose your songs, your moods, your silence, but you never chose to ask why. I tried to lose you gently, but you didn't even notice me slipping. I stayed quiet, not because I'm fine, because I'm exhausted explaining pain to a wall. Even the way I walk slower is a question you never answer. You didn't hear my cries because they sounded like silence. I sent love notes with my body language. You never learned the dialect. You call me distant, but you built the gap. My eyes asked for help. Yours avoided mine. I burned down my pride to reach you, and you still felt no warmth. I laughed too loud to mask the shattering inside. I wear hints like bruises, and you call it drama. I made my heartbreak invisible, and you still blamed me for the quiet. You read novels, but skipped every page I wrote in silence. I set fire to the air around you. You called it a breeze. I curled into metaphors. You only hear facts. You ignore pain unless it bleeds. Mine whispers. My absence will teach you what my presence tried to whisper. I dropped clues like petals. You stepped over them like stones. I'm not asking for magic, just presence. I bled truth in lowercase. You never saw the red. I lowered my voice, hoping you'd lean in. You walked away. I sent you codes in broken eye contact. You never cracked one. My heart played its final note, and you still asked for a remix. I'm not hard to love, just hard to notice. I wrapped my warning in affection. You opened none. I was poetry you refused to read. I built bridges with my vulnerability. You burned them with silence. Even my silence was screaming your name. I gave you pauses full of meaning. You filled them with distractions. My body leaned into you like a question. You never answered. I sighed deeper when near you. Those were earthquakes, not breath. I laughed through pain. You only heard the joke. I wore your favorite color, hoping you'd ask why. I sent you my soul through silence, Return to sender. I don't want you to fix me. I want you to see me. I opened every emotional door. You stayed outside. You never noticed the tears that didn't fall. My love was loud, just not in your language. I hung hints like stars. You never looked up. You missed my sadness because it smiled politely. I dimmed so you'd notice the light fading. You blamed the room. I didn't need answers. I needed attention. I wrote love letters in how I waited. I curled around you like protection. You called it clingy. I stopped trying to be understood. You never tried to understand. My silence wasn't peace. It was surrender. I texted less to test your care. You replied with less. I stopped talking just to see if you'd notice. You didn't. I moved like a ghost beside you. You never said my name. My emotions were soft landings. You jumped anyway. I made room in my world for you. You brought noise, not presence. I complimented you less. You called me distant. You never saw me shiver. I hid winter behind warmth. I spoke love in sighs. You translated it as boredom. I reached out silently. You never reached back. I shared songs instead of stories. You never heard the lyrics. I wore your absence like a new skin. I whispered my pain. You needed it screamed. I was always here. You were always elsewhere. My retreat was my final attempt at closeness. I dropped off your emotional radar before you knew I was flying. I danced around the truth, hoping you'd join. You watched, unmoved. I watered us with effort. You let it evaporate. I gave you time, hoping you'd use it to see me. I broke first. You noticed second. I'm not mad, just tired of loving you in Morse code. I walked slower for you. You sped ahead. I wore love like armor. You found the cracks. I waited in silence until silence became my answer. I asked the universe for a sign. It gave me your absence. If this touched your soul, don't scroll. Like, comment your favorite quote and subscribe for more. My pain is not poetry. It's a plea you never read. I hinted with silence. You mistook it for peace. You think I've changed. I just stopped hiding it. I left the light on for you. You preferred the dark. I drew circles around your name. You erased mine. I don't need flowers. I need awareness. I broke inside the day you laughed at my silence. I held back tears hoping you'd ask. You left first.